Welcome to Wake Up Vermillion. I'm your host, Ali Boysen, and today I'm sitting down with Dr. Susan Strobel to talk about the epidemic of e-cigarette use. Welcome. Thank you for being on the show this morning.
Thank you so much. I'm just happy to be here.
Just to get into the topic, can you talk about your expertise in the realm of juuling?
Sure. So my background is public health, and I'm also a nurse, but I also have my doctorate in systems level public health. And so my passion is really looking at promotional, educational issues when it comes to health, and vaping has been around for a very long time. I mean, it came to the United States in 2003, so I've been watching this trend for a long time now. It really hit in 2007, and then in 2015, Juul came onto the scene, and that is the product that is really capturing the lives of adolescents today.
Why do you think there's a difference in e-cigarette use and traditional cigarette use? There's kind of an attitude where cigarettes are gross and disgusting, but e-cigarettes are more appealing and kind of like easier to use.
I think that's a complicated question, Ali, but there's two things. I think these big manufacturers, big tobacco companies, they advertise. 18 million students a day are being exposed to advertisements. Wow. On social media, on in stores, in fast food chain stores, you'll see posters. So the advertising campaign is very intentional, and it's going right to the heart of our adolescents. I think that's number one. And number two, there's not that stigma. There's no stigma with the smell or the bad breath or that burning. Like, you could always tell if somebody was a smoker because like maybe their fingernails were yellow or something. Anyway, so I think there's no stigma. The marketing has been incredibly intentional, and it's that perfect high-risk behavior. You get that jolt to your brain of nicotine. And I might add that in a Juul pod or an e-cigarette cartridge, students or whoever uses these products isn't getting the traditional nicotine from like a tobacco leaf. They're getting a nicotine salt. And this nicotine salt is different. It's more powerful, and it really drives that jolt to the brain.
Wow. Do you think it was the flavors that attracted the kids the most to Juul, or what do you think that was?
I think so. For two thoughts. First, I think that e-cigarette use has been normalized, and back in the 90s, cigarette use or nicotine use was really a different demographic. It was maybe kids that maybe weren't college bound. But now, e-cigarettes have been the cool thing for athletes, college-bound kids, really your high-functioning kids, as well as everybody else. And on that note, e-cigarette use and juuling, it doesn't favor anybody. We're seeing it in all sorts of kids, male and female, and the demographics are all over. So I think that the Trump administration and their plan to pull most e-cigarettes from the market is very bold. And I think there will be some pushback from states. But I think that the flavoring is really the problem, because that flavoring is an oil, and that oil, when it's inhaled, is really dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Do you think like the demographic realizes that, or do you think they just don't care enough?
That is a great question also. And going back to the flavoring, I think the flavoring really did attract students and adolescents, because I don't know, when I look at the evidence, I don't know that students really understood that they were getting a jolt of nicotine. I think a lot of younger adolescents were thinking that it was just something chic-y, cool, vapor. It tastes like candy or watermelon or Runts or Sour Patch Kids. It was something fun to do. And because they knew somebody that was doing it, parents or friends or family, it was very accessible. So that's a really good question.
What advice do you have for any students that are currently using their e-cigarette, Juul, vape, to quit? Like, what advice do you have to stop? Because, I mean, it is an addiction. So do you have any tips for that?
I like to think that the younger generation is really smart and resilient. And so I would say to all of you that don't let the advertising companies get the best of you. Like, you stand up against it, and you use your smart brain to make really good decisions and health-promoting decisions for your life. And I would also say, find a friend, a trusted friend or a trusted adult at school, maybe the school nurse, maybe the school counselor, and confide in them and let them know that you want to quit. And there are programs out there that we can help students to quit nicotine if they really want to.
All right, that's all my questions. Thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Strobel. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow us on all our social media pages and subscribe to see new content weekly. We'd like to extend a special thanks to our guest, Dr. Susan Strobel, and to the on-campus Charlies for letting us use their space.